Hello everybody,
Hey.
welcome back to the Happy Life Show.
Welcome back, everybody. And may I introduce you to my beautiful, wonderful, brilliant, absolutely domesticated. She does everything. She's a yes woman. She's in everything great, better than you can ever imagine. She's all my fantasies. Ahiranta.
Okay. And this is my really funny and sometimes a little bit mad, my husband, Ozay Tulku Rinpoche.
Yay! That's me.
Welcome back. Please, before we start, can you please subscribe to our channel? It really helps us out. Thank you very much. Hit the bell so you get the notification when we upload a new video again.
Okay.
All right, darling.
Okay.
What do we do today?
Today we do a talk about positivity and negativity.
Thoughts or doing or?
Positive attraction, negative attraction. Okay?
Everything about positive and negative then. Okay.
Yeah.
Take it away.
Okay, the thing that stands out in my mind is when I was a child, I remember that there was all sorts of challenges and, in school there was always a measure, somebody measuring you or you measuring yourself. And can I do this? Athletics and rugby. In Wales it was rugby, rugby in Wales. We never played with football. I'm sorry about you English guys who play football. You've got a good rugby team this year, though, I'll say that for you. Anyway, but you could play, if you was good at rugby, you played in the first team. If you weren't too good at rugby, you could play in the second team. But if you was absolute crap at rugby, then you got sent right out over there somewhere, over in this strange-looking field with strange-looking structures on there, kicking this round little ball. And it bounced odd as well. It could never get used to the round ball, the way it bounced, and then but a rugby ball, you knew which way that was going to bounce. It just depended on how you kicked it, or how you threw it. A brilliant ball. Anyway, what was I talking about? Positivity. And so, you didn't want to be in the football team because it meant you wouldn't really up to scratch. And if you're young and, full of yourself, like I was, cocky as hell, and so you want to be best, but there's some pretty sort of mean machines out there that you've got to compete against to become the best. And so you sit down and think, he's bigger than me, I'm only small, I'm not a big fella. Yeah, but I can do something, surely. And I come one day, it was all this stuff, can I do it? I lacked confidence as well, in learning things. And at home, my brother was bullying me, and which was really good for me. And he didn't know he was doing me good. But it was, I found it very difficult to learn in school. And it was lacking confidence. And so I couldn't retain information. Anyway, so I remember coming to this thing one day. It was it was, I used to go deep into myself as a child. And I remember thinking and considering all these things, to be somebody. And I wanted sex, of course. I wanted to be noticed by the girls, just like any other young lad. And then I sat down and I thought about the athletics that was coming up. And I thought, can I win those races? And then I thought, I was I liked long distance, cross country and things like that. And 8,000 yards, 880 we called it then. And I thought, and I come to this point, can I do these things? Can I do what I want to do in order to be the persona that I wanted to be? And you know what I thought? At the end I came to it, and I thought, yeah, can I do these things? Do you want to do these things? Yes. And I thought, I can do those things. And can I win? Yes, I can. I can win. I can, and I will. And then after that in my life, I thought, if somebody else can do it, I can do it.
Yeah.
It just means I have to do what it requires, and whatever it required. If it was a race, I had to go out running. If I wanted to win, I had to look at the one who was the best, and then make myself better. How did I make myself better? What can I do to make myself better? I can and I will, remember? I can and I will. To make myself better, I needed to find out how to make myself better. So, how do we make yourself better? I go out there and I do what it requires. And I get out, I make my muscles stronger, I make my lungs stronger, I make my heart stronger by exercising more than everyone else. So if I want to win, if I want to be the winner and I think it's worth it, note that word, worth it. Is it worth it? Do I want to do it? Yes. For me then, it was all about my balls, and it was about standing out. So I wanted to be the best. So I had to go out there. I can go out there. I can do, and I will win. So I can and I will. I can and I will. And that's all you need. The power of your own belief. But today, what do we do? What do we do today? The negativity. And remember that your body responds to every single thought you have. And you need to be very aware of your thoughts, because every thought about yourself, your body will serve. And if your thoughts about yourself are bad thoughts, then
Negative thoughts.
Negativity, then your body is going to react in the way that you command.
Yeah.
I can and I will can go in a negative process as well. So what do you want when you wake up in the morning? What do you want?
That is my favorite saying, I can and I will, because, we are not rich, financially we are not rich, but we acquire happiness. I consider myself very rich, but financially we are not rich. But we do a lot with the little money we have, because it's about the way how we go about things. How can we do it? If I want that, how can I do that? And instead of hiring other people, what are you doing?
I'm hungry. You haven't done me no food today.
Oh, you remember me of somebody. Anyway, don't mind Ozay, he's having a banana. Anyway, we always think about if other people can do it, so can we. We just have to find a way, isn't it? And because you became a champion boxer. Why did you become a champion boxer? Because
of that.
Yeah.
And I thought,
well, I better join him then.
I thought, right, well, we haven't had no food today.
Yes, we did, silly.
Well, it feels like we haven't had no food. I'm hungry. And anyway, when I was young, and I don't know why I had this like big ego. I still got a bit of it now, I think. And scared to be a loser for some strange reason. I haven't sat down and thought about that actually, but I should do. And again, it was that process of thought was, if anyone else can do it, I can do it. And the trick was just to do it a bit better. Now, going to do it better. And the science told us that to become stronger, you have to do more. You have to eat more, you have to do more. And so I wanted it. And I can, and I will. And so therefore, that principle, in everything, it can go everywhere into life. And depends where you point the arrow, of your life. Which way you're going to go, that way, or that way. And unfortunately, at that time in my life, I didn't have the experience that I needed to have and my father, I didn't have a father that could guide me, and my mother, she was treating us like holy flesh because our father had died, so we were spoiled little bastards, we were really, as children. And we had the run and the rule of everything because of that. We were little little gits.
No, he was not really spoiled. He was unruly because he didn't put the rules on.
Yeah, we were rough diamonds in a way. And so I would look at my group that I was in and what they thought was the best thing to be. And of course that influenced my thinking. And it was always like rugby, it was fighting, it was music, and that's about it, I think, in them days, and sex.
All about image, isn't it?
Yeah, image and sex. So it was like, what do I want to be? I want to be a world champion boxer. And I can, and I will, because I learned that at a very early stage of my life, fundamental it was. And from there, on that foundation, and even you can change it even if you didn't start there yourself, I can and I will. And you can start today. I can and I will. I'm not going to fail. And don't shy down. People are people. They're humans the same as you.
Yeah.
And they know better than you and they know worse than you. Never under yourself with people and never over yourself. Yeah. But say the self can be brought too high and low, and it's up to you what you choose to do, what you choose to say I can and I will do, and what you choose to I can't and I won't.
Yeah, because what you said yesterday, was it, or this morning, you said some boxers, before they enter the ring, they have already lost.
Lost the fight, yeah.
And of course the opposite is there as well. That's why there is so much pretense and... Yeah. But then, even if they pretend to be them, like Muhammad Ali was a good example, he would have his routine and to hide behind, because some people suffer from tremendous nerve.
Yeah.
But if you can't stay on top of that and already think that the other person might beat you, you're beaten already, isn't it?
Yeah, psychologically, it's, in boxing, there's this thing of the psychological showdown before the fight. And some boxers lose that psychologically before the fight. And as soon as you believe somebody is better than you, well, then your body responds to that.
Yeah, that's interesting.
It shuts down.
Yeah.
And it further on in life, and that's young people who box. And that's just the start of it. There, if you have that attitude where you're going to be easily influenced by impressions around you that other people want to give to you, then you're going to suck it up all the time. You have to be your own master. And you have to recognize that, be aware of it, of the influences that you're allowing to go into your mind, and you're allowing, therefore, to take your body over. But if you go in a boxing ring, I'm gonna be dancing like a butterfly and stinging like a bee. And I used to like watching Ali, of course, and what's his name, Khan, the Indian boxer.
Sorry, can't help.
Yeah, and he was like, whoa, he'd go into the boxing ring, I'm dancing, I'm the greatest, nobody can beat me. And like Mike Tyson, he's another one. I refuse to be beaten. That's psychology.
Yeah.
He'd get in that ring, and that Mike Tyson, he was short. And for a heavyweight, he was short, he was small, but yet he was one of the most notorious heavyweight boxers.
Powerful, eh?
And don't get me wrong again. Now I talk about boxing. It was just my background, where I came from, my environment, where I came from. I chose that from the spirit world because I had certain lessons to learn in that environment. But we all have different environments. I don't condone boxing by no means. I don't condone two adult men getting up in boxing, or women for that matter, and beating hell out of each other, because it's damaging. And that's sad. But it was just something that taught me my lessons of my life, that's all. And I would never ask my sons to do boxing, because it's dangerous. And
but we taught Crystal Lou. You taught Crystal Lou.
I taught it only for self-defense.
Yeah, you didn't put her in a ring. You taught her to box, but
I taught her to look after herself.
Yeah.
Because there's a world out there that you can be a Christian and practice Christianity, and kindness, loving kindness, like Buddhism and all that sort of stuff. But the world out there will often see kindness as a weakness.
Yes.
And they'll try to intimidate you, and they'll
take advantage of it, definitely.
And sometimes bullying happens.
But do you also remember how you raised Christalou? Because when she was a little girl, she would run into the house and tell you boys are better than girls.
Yeah.
What did you do? How did you deal with that? You made her positive.
I tried to introduce her to women heroes like Wonder Woman, Superwoman, and I tried to, over the years as well, I tried to explain to her, and I like what the ancient Chinese martial arts tried to, well, not try, but what the ancient Chinese martial arts found, and that was, you have a light person who was fast, quick, agile, and and then a heavyweight person who was strong, slow, and heavy. And in today's society, to put those two matches together is, you wouldn't have it in Western society, but in ancient Chinese, they were a good match. They were an equal match, because it was about the mind and how the light fella used his abilities to overcome the big heavy fella, and how he used his abilities to overcome the light fella, and it was a fair match. So there was never really a thought of any disadvantages, only being able to master your mind and to be fully positive that you can win in some way, and it was just a matter of exposing yourself,
finding the way,
the route, so that
but
was.
you told Christalou that girls and boys are equally
and that's
strong.
what I always try to teach.
Yes, so it starts from a very early age that some people try to instill into girls that they are lesser and weaker, and luckily enough that is changing at the moment. But it's all about positive thought, and that's why it's so important, the people that you surround yourself with, because some people will always be negative, and that every negative thought influences the energy that flows through your body. And yes?
Oh, I just thought of something funny. Shall I talk about this one?
Yeah.
Well, me and my friend Johnny Meacham, right, and God bless his soul, he passed away young. A good friend of mine. We got up to lots and lots of mischief, and we would go to jobs together, right? And we'd ask for, we'd walk miles and miles in Wales, like, a lot of jobs, and you had to walk miles. I mean, I remember wearing out shoes walking to find work, like strong, determined persons. And so me and Johnny, we go in for this job, and the interview, I said, I can and I will, and positive thought. Well, I had that then too, only not the worldly experience that I have now. And I would never say these things now for a job interview. And so we go in for a job interview, and me and Johnny talks like, what are we going to say, to get this job, And so we kind of come up with a story like...
Can I ask you, how old was you then?
We
14?
would have been like 15, 16.
Before you went into the Navy?
Yeah.
Yeah, 14 then.
We had as many jobs, like in weeks.
Yeah.
Like for a year, there was weeks in a year in them days. And so we concoct what we were going to say at the job interview, and it was something like... I can do this job, easy peasy, and you better watch out for your job, because I'm coming for your job as well.
I'm going to have your job. I'm going to
have your job in time as well, so, you better watch out. And we thought that was good. Of course, we got the jobs, mind. We got those. That was in the glassworks. I think it was, wasn't it? Yeah.
But then decades later, news came from Wales that Johnny had gone for another job, now adult man, in his 40s. In his 40s, and he went for a job with somebody else. Ozay grew up with Pete, and he said, that Johnny Mitchum came for a job, and you never guess what he'd said. And he said exactly the same line.
Exactly the same lines. I mean, he was like teenagers then, right? And like we had a positive mind, both of us, because like Johnny Meacham, right? He was. We used to go for cross country running, and I always had to win that race. Like Johnny was always on my shoulder, so he was just like just as pushy and hard, because that really tests your willpower, that do. And Johnny was always over my shoulder, like, and we became great mates. And so we made that story, like, for the job interviews that we would have. And so anyway, of course, I grew past that, like, and I had a lot more experience outside of all those things. But Johnny stayed in Wales, and
he didn't grow past it.
He never grew past it. And then, like, some years now, we're in our 50s. Johnny passed away not long after I heard this, actually, about him. And he must have been about
early 50s.
No. He died at 51.
Yeah.
And he must have been in his 48th year.
Late.
48, and that was Brad that told me that he's married to my sister. And he worked in Girlings in Cumbran. And he said, Johnny came for an interview, and he told the, I don't know what it is, the manager or something, who interviewed him for the job. He said that I'm coming for your job, and I'm going to have your job.
He didn't get the job.
Didn't he get the job? I can't remember.
I don't think he got the job.
No, I know Brad told us about it. And he used exactly the same line that we created when we were kids.
Positivity.
Yeah, positivity, of course, yeah. So don't always, I mean, you can have, so the motto of that story then, it has to be, right, you can have a positive attitude towards a three-legged horse winning the Grand National, but although you've got a positive attitude, it don't mean that the horse is going to win the Grand National, because you've got 3 legs, so you've got to have a bit of sense, and you've got to look at the science of everything as well. So you've got to have the ability to look into it, research it, understand is it really worth, because if you want something from this world, you always have to give something, and therefore, if you really want something, and before you say I can and I will, you have to say this, you have to look at it and say, is it really worth it?
Yeah, and are you willing to do everything that is needed?
And it's always sacrifice.
Because Chris Tulku became British national champion because so focused, but it took over her life for at least 6 years. Complete focus, complete living like a professional, like a robot, really. The routine was never broken, almost never broken, and that led her to become a British champion. So you have to sacrifice what other people seem as a sacrifice. For her it wasn't. That was what she wanted, that's what she set out to do, and she managed to become a champion. But the most important thing is not becoming a champion. The most important thing is to be aware what positive thoughts do to your health, and what negative thoughts do to our health, mental and physical health.
Something just dawned on me.
What is that?
We haven't got the mics on.
That's alright, because the last few videos I didn't use them. The sound on there was so good that we didn't use them.
Oh, okay.
So I left them off.
Okay, and you were talking about Crystal Lou.
Yeah, well, just the influence of thoughts. Every thought has influence. I remember when I was still bedbound, that if I would eat food, and that's in a similar way really, if I would eat food, I would use visualization. I would visualize that the food, I chew it, and then it would become red little soldiers the moment I swallow it. And then I would visualize the soldiers and charge them with positive energy, and I would ask them to go wherever my body needed healing. Go and heal wherever you find healing is needed. And that is also a way of using positivity, isn't it?
Actually, that's involved in advanced meditations as well. And you have to become first a master of no mind before you can, because the whole universe is conscious, and the greatest part of the conscious universe is the nothingness. There's a massive nothingness, but that's conscious. So it's not nothingness, it's consciousness.
Yeah, it's everything, isn't it?
And therefore, if you an advanced in meditation that you can stay in no mind for a period of time, then time doesn't exist, of course. If you can do a period of time, it's not going to be it's going to be non-existent. But then when you visualize, the visualizations become potent, and because you're focused, strongly focused, like a laser beam, not a
scattered light, diffused
light,
yeah,
but
diffused
a laser
light,
beam strength, and that means that you're able to move the what's the smallest structure in the universe? The
neutron, atom,
something
whatever,
like that.
something like
And
that.
so you're able, with that focus and that strength of meditation, the clarity, to make things happen. So if you're a good meditator, a master, then you speak. I mean, 5 years in bed. It was lots of fun, by the way. 5 years in bed, yeah. And so you ask. There's nothing outside, and you come more inwards inside yourself, and therefore you ask. You know it's gonna happen. Faith is gonna happen, and you visualize. So it's a meditation.
Yeah, and that's why it is so damaging, in my opinion, when medical people give you
A negative prognosis.
Prognosis,
Yeah.
that's right. To me, and teachers too. I have two direct experiences. One, I had a teacher at middle school, and he told me that I was a very sweet girl. He could see that I was working really hard, but I will never be able to master learning the Dutch language properly. I'm Dutch, yeah. And that has always bothered me, always. But to prove him wrong, he's somewhere buried now. Now I have an undergraduate degree and I have a master degree. And not that that is important, because, you know, if I can do it, everybody else can do it. But it's just to prove to myself and to give myself something to do, because I spend most of my time in the house. But also really to become positive about my own abilities. So I set myself a goal, and I knew if somebody else can do it, I can do it. And then when I became ill, we had to hire a really big motorhome because I could only transport it lying down. And that they only had a big motorhome that day because they bumped you up. Anyway, it was really fantastic because after so many years in the bed, it was a different environment. But by the time I was arrived,
Excuse me.
that's all right. Do you want a sweet?
Yeah, I think it's...
That's okay. Still the COVID cough. But by the time we arrived at London, I was in a relapse, unable to talk and move. And the specialist came to conclude that I would never recover. I was one of the few with a severe form of the illness. Symptomatic recovery would be really small. And Ozay stopped him and said, that's just not helpful. Because you put something in her mind that will always be carrying in everything she does, and when she gets a relapse, it will influence that.
She's never going to get better. I'm never going to get better.
Yeah. So as we mentioned this before, to counteract that, on the way back he stopped in a camp shop and bought me walking shoes, and they stood next to my bed. He bought 2 pairs, one for himself, one for me, and said, that's where they stay, and one day you will be walking in them. So that's really important to have thoughts that are positive. And that doesn't mean you need to not see when somebody is misbehaving towards you in a negative manner. You see it for what it is, isn't it? We're not going to fool ourselves.
No. And I think,
but it's our choice how we deal with it, isn't it? And that is...
there's something else here important to say too, and that is that during that time, I was battling with the negativity of what the specialist said to Ahiranta about her condition, and I came back with an opposing force that you're going to get better. Don't believe that the specialist. Who am I? Like, I'm not a specialist, am I? And
but now you are.
There was a battle for the belief system, and so was the specialist going to win, or was I going to win? And but who won in the end? She won.
I won.
And because all the other stuff that was going on around it is the power of my own belief. And for instance, we know that, and in Africa, it was well known that the shaman or the witch doctor would put a spell on anyone and say, you're going to drop down dead in 3 days. And do you know what? That would happen.
Yeah.
And they'd have illnesses, and in India, and it's still going on today, they mix up a bit of mud and then they spit in your eye, and then they stick their fingers in your ears and wash your face with mud, and you're cured, and you become cured.
Yeah.
So it's what are you going to do? Are you going to allow people to have that control over your belief system, your power of belief, your God-given nature of creativity, creation, because of the universe is conscious and we're all one mind, but we've just split off from each other, but we still split off with the same mind and the same universal consciousness. And are we going to use our own authority, or are we going to let the specialists tell us what is possible, what is not possible? Let the witch doctors convince us what we want to, what we should believe and what we shouldn't believe. Or we are going to understand this information ourselves and get up one day and say, this is what I believe, and it's the power of positivity. And remember that when you look back at your ancestors in your family and they all died of heart disease, and you convince yourself, oh, I'm bound to die of heart disease, or they've all had breast cancer, and I'm bound to get breast cancer, you will get it, because you believe it.
If you keep thinking that, you can make things. We are the creators, but what we think, we come through. And you see that also in relationship. When you are really scared to lose the other, your behavior will be in such a way that you make that happen.
Predetermining destiny.
Yeah.
And
it's just really important that we stay positive. Very, very important.
Yeah. So there was something else that I wanted to say to that.
Okay.
And I kind of lost it.
That's all right. Take your time.
But
I interrupted.
What we create is what we believe is what we create, and that's the power of positivity. And if we believe that we're going to get cancer, we're going to get cancer. And if we believe we're going to die from heart disease, we're going to die from heart disease. And today we got the advantage now of science have progressed a long way with genetics and stuff. And do you know that we can change your genetics through the power of belief?
Wow. Yeah, your DNA make changes.
Your DNA can change through the power of belief. They found that out now. There's been some research studies carried out, although I can't remember to mention them to you, but if you Google it, you'll find it somewhere. Where
Google Scholar.
Google Scholar, yeah, that's the one to look on. That's where all the real research is happening. And we have the power to change our own DNA. And what's that saying? You know, what is it saying? It means you can change your cancerous cells into positive, the power of positive.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
I think that's it for me.
That's it, yeah. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. If you have any questions or you would like us to talk about anything, please leave a comment, subscribe, hit the bell, please. And that would be really lovely if you can grow our channel. Yeah. Okay, see you next time.
Okay, thank you then.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.